Hi friends, welcome back. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and check out the full video on our channel. If you're into the wisdom of ancient philosophy and the power of modern psychology in relationships, this is for you. Let me open with an ancient line from the Eastern classic Compilation. 工人之恶，无太言，要死其看守. It means, when you point out someone's fault, don't be too harsh. Think about whether they can truly bear it. Isn't that beautiful? It's not just advice about being polite. It's a deep lesson on how to love someone, even while telling them the hard truth. Now let's apply this to real life, especially when you feel the need to correct your wife. How do you tell your partner something difficult without making them shut down or push you away? Let's take this timeless wisdom and look at what modern psychology says about it. 3 psychological truths behind this quote. First, harsh criticism activates defense mechanisms. When people feel attacked, they don't hear your words. They hear danger, and they protect themselves by arguing, blaming, or going silent. Even when you're right, the truth gets blocked. Second, it hurts their self-efficacy. If you correct your spouse too severely, they may not walk away thinking, I should grow. Instead, they think, I'm never good enough. And that doesn't lead to change. It leads to shame, silence, and distance. Third, it shows a lack of empathy. What matters isn't just what you say, but whether they are ready to receive it. That's what the final part of the quote says so clearly. Think about whether they can truly bear it. So here's what to do instead. Wait for the right moment when emotions are calm. Use gentle language like I felt hurt when instead of you always. And above all, listen first. When people feel heard, they become open. When people feel judged, they shut down. Make it a partnership, not a lecture. Say, let's figure out how we can work on this together. Here's the takeaway. This ancient line isn't just an old proverb. It's a roadmap for emotional safety in close relationships. And yes, that includes marriage. And if I'm being honest, there have been times when my wife made a mistake, a big one. I felt this fire rise up in me. I have to say something. So I do. I correct her. Strong, righteous. And for a second, I feel like I've won. But then, you're one. She goes quiet. She looks down. She puts her fork down. And suddenly, I'm the one apologizing. Do I even know what I'm sorry for? But I say it anyway, because silence is scary. Tears are worse. And fighting, I'd rather hug. So yes, I become the emotional peacekeeper. The voluntary household sinner, you could say. But I know I'm not the only one. Marriage isn't about being right. It's about being gentle when the truth needs to be spoken. It's about timing, tone, and trust. So be that kind of man. Be the husband who leads with empathy, who speaks truth wrapped in grace, and who knows deep down when to talk and when to just hold her hand. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of ancient Eastern philosophers, the classic Qigong Dam contains a powerful message that remains relevant today. The phrase 工人之恶，无太言，要死其看守 means, when pointing out someone's faults, do not be too harsh, but first consider whether the person can accept it. This principle reminds us that true leadership and compassion are more than simply pointing out a mistake. They are conveying the truth through empathy and moderation. Thousands of years later, the voices of the ancient sages still ring clear, urging us to lead others with honesty and understanding. If you're enjoying the insights we share, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button and check out the full video for a deeper dive into today's topic. Let's begin with this powerful line from the ancient Chinese classic Caigan a work filled with timeless wisdom. When you criticize someone, don't do it too harshly. Consider first whether they're emotionally ready to receive it. Now, does this sound familiar? You get into an argument with your spouse. At first, the husband may raise his voice and seem to take the lead. But somehow, he's the one who always ends up backing down. Why does this reversal keep happening? It's not just about who's louder or more articulate. It's about emotional roles and mental habits. Psychological insight number 1, the peacemaker role. People like me often unconsciously take on the role of the peacemaker in the relationship. Psychologists call this a conflict avoidant or mediator personality. You might notice these traits. Conflict itself feels overwhelmingly stressful. You value maintaining the relationship more than winning the fight. You carry an unspoken sense of duty that someone has to end this. So you step back, not necessarily because you're wrong, but because peace matters more to you. But here's the key: stepping back doesn't resolve the problem. What truly protects a relationship is managing the intensity of your words and waiting until the other person is ready to hear what you have to say. Insight number 2, emotional reversal. Often the argument might begin because of something your partner did wrong. But as emotions escalate, tears, anger, silence, you suddenly feel like you are the one in the wrong. This is called an emotional reversal. The logic of right and wrong fades. Emotional weight takes over. Before you know it, you're the one apologizing. Insight number 3, emotional labor in relationships. In traditional households, especially influenced by Confucian values like in Korea, men often internalize the role of emotional stabilizer. You may have heard phrases like, the man should yield. If the husband controls his temper, the family stays together. These ideas lead to an emotional pattern. Apologizing, becoming used to apologizing, believing it's your job to apologize. You're not alone. Many men, and anyone who feels responsible for the emotional tone of the relationship, go through this exact cycle. What can we do about it? Clarify your emotions before apologizing. Ask yourself, why am I apologizing? Is it guilt or the desire to repair the bond? This helps you find clarity. Use empathetic language with boundaries. Instead of rushing to say, I'm sorry, try, I don't want to hurt you, but I felt really disappointed about what happened. This expresses your feelings without blame. Write an emotion log. In recurring conflicts, a short, written reflection often helps more than spoken words. It helps balance emotion before it explodes. Final thoughts. Saying sorry even when you didn't start the fight isn't just about giving in. It's a sign of emotional maturity and deep care for the relationship. But make sure that kindness doesn't turn into resentment. Balance your emotions, express yourself gently, but clearly, and protect the connection. If this resonated with you, subscribe, join the conversation, and let's keep exploring how psychology helps us build better relationships. For more content like this, search for Cho Dukje 3 on the internet. You'll find series videos and deeper insights in the full episode. See you there, See you in the forecash. The meaning of the Oriental classic, 工人之恶，无太言，要死其看守, which has been passed down for thousands of years, is when pointing out someone's mistakes, don't be too harsh, but first think about whether that person can handle it. Hello, everyone. The topic we're going to discuss today is very realistic, and it's a story that many people can relate to. When my wife repeatedly makes the same mistake, how can I persuade her effectively without hurting her feelings? This question is not simply how to point out mistakes, but a deeper question of how to lead to lasting behavioral change. The classic says, 工人之恶，无太言，要死其看守. In other words, when pointing out someone's mistake, don't be too harsh, but first think about whether that person can handle it. It means, if you want this kind of relationship wisdom and classic insight, please subscribe and like so that we can continue with a more in-depth story. If we reinterpret this based on today's psychology, education, and environmental factors, we can approach this problem in different ways. First, there is the pedagogical approach. In education, the process of understanding behavior, providing feedback, repeatedly teaching is important. In other words, let's think together about why this is wrong and how can we do it differently next time. We stimulate the other person's autonomous thinking through this kind of conversation. The second is the psychological approach. In psychology, it is key to understand the inner psychological structure, such as emotions, motivation, self-esteem, and defense mechanisms. That's why it is more effective to empathize, motivate, and encourage them to make their own choices. The last is the environmental approach. Here we examine whether the surrounding environment, habits, or lifestyle patterns are causing the behavior to repeat. And by adjusting the environmental factors that cause the problem behavior, it is a strategy to naturally lead to behavior change. In the end, the important thing is, when we want a loved one to change, we should not simply point out the problem, but speak in a way that the person can accept and change the environment together. What is the most appropriate approach? The most effective approach is a combination of psychology and education, because if you simply teach them, their defense mechanism can work, and if you empathize them, it can repeat without change. That's why we need a structure that protects their emotions, while making them feel the need for change. If we need to utilize psychology and education. We need to do it step by step. First, we need to secure emotional safety. Psychological approach. Start with empathy, not blame. That can happen. I've been through that too. This does not mean no problem, but the key to lowering emotional defenses. Second, we need to analyze the problem behavior together. Pedagogical approach. Why does this keep happening? Talk in a collaborative manner. Approach with an attitude of exploration or investigation, rather than pointing out. Third, we need to induce small changes. Environmental approach. For example, if you don't organize well, let's put a small basket in this space. Establish a device to change behavior patterns through environmental conditions that are easy to change. Fourth, we need to provide reinforcing feedback. If there is even a small change, we need to provide positive feedback immediately. This is different these days. Thank you. Mistakes to avoid are as follows. Why are you doing that again? Repeated criticism reinforces psychological resistance. I'll fix it all deprives autonomy and self-initiative. Just do it like that imperatives cause passive resistance. Put it all together. True influence comes when we combine emotional empathy so they feel safe, educational feedback so they reflect, structural changes so success feels natural. Avoid common mistakes like, why do you always do this? Increases defensiveness. I'll fix it for you, removes autonomy. Just do it this way, triggers resistance. Summary. Real persuasion doesn't start with logic, it starts with emotion. If you want your partner to change, create a space where they feel safe, understood, and empowered to change on their own. Blending psychology, education, and environmental tweaks isn't just smart, it's love in action. If this helped you see relationships in a new light, hit subscribe, tap like, and check out the full video for deeper insight. For more content like this, search for Cho Duke J3 on the internet. You'll find series videos and deeper insights in the full episode. See you there, See you in the Forekash. The meaning of the Oriental classic, 工人之恶，舞台演，要死其看守, which has been passed down for thousands of years, is when pointing out someone's mistakes, don't be too harsh, but first think about whether that person can handle it. To them. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's topic is something many couples struggle with but rarely talk about openly. What's really happening emotionally? When your wife shuts down after being criticized, let's explore the deeper emotional patterns beneath that silence. Through the lens of classical wisdom, modern psychology, and relational insight. And if you want more honest, thoughtful content like this, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and check out the full video for a deeper dive. Part 1, it's not just sensitivity. When your wife seems upset after you offer feedback, it's not because she's overly sensitive. It's likely a mix of emotional overload, self-defense, and a fear of imbalance in the relationship. She may be thinking, I'm doing my best. Why am I always being corrected? Or feeling, I must not be good enough. When this happens, self-protection kicks in, and it can look like avoiding the topic, reacting with, well, you do it too, going completely silent, shutting down with, this is just who I am. Part 2, communication breakdown. If the corrections keep coming, they stop feeling like conversations and then start feeling like attacks. So she defends. And you stop trying, thinking, what's the point? She won't listen anyway. That's how couples slide into a cycle. Mistake criticism, defensiveness, conflict, silence, emotional distance. Part 3, emotional isolation. Eventually she feels, I'm always being judged. No one really sees me. And you might feel, I was just trying to help. Why am I the bad guy? You're both hurt, but instead of reaching for each other, you start pulling away. So what can you do? Step 1, ask, don't accuse. Instead of saying, why'd you do that again? Try, did that situation feel frustrating for you too? This shifts the focus to empathy. Step 2, give process-based feedback. Say things like, that part didn't go so smoothly. What could we do differently next time for both of us? Step 3, make it us versus the problem. Avoid the trap of me versus you. Think instead, how can we solve this together? Step 4, protect emotional safety. Feedback should never be a weapon. It should be a bridge, a way to connect, not to crush. Final thoughts. If your wife shuts down after you bring something up, it's not about sensitivity. It's a sign that the emotional balance in your relationship is off. In those moments, she needs connection more than correction. Your words have power. Make sure they sound like love, not judgment. This is what real relationship skill looks like. If this message resonates, please subscribe, give it a like, and watch the full video to explore how classic wisdom and psychology can transform your marriage. And of course, for more powerful insights into relationships, you can watch the full video in the description link or on the channel homepage. In the classic text Kaigan, a collection rooted in the wisdom of ancient Eastern sages, there is a powerful line. 教人一生无过高，当是七棵丛. It means when guiding others toward virtue, don't make your ideals unreachable, teach in a way they can actually follow. Though this was written centuries ago, its insight remains deeply relevant today. It reminds us that true wisdom isn't just about aiming high, it's about making goodness accessible. Even after thousands of years, the voices of ancient philosophers still speak to us, offering timeless guidance for how to lead, teach, and love in a way others can truly receive. Hello friends and welcome back. Today we're diving into a timeless insight from Kaigan, an ancient Eastern classic that speaks directly to how we communicate in marriage. Why is it that even when we offer advice with good intentions, it's often rejected and ends up creating distance instead of connection? Psychology first. One turn. 1. The cognitive dissonance. When someone hears advice that feels too idealistic or far removed from their current reality, they don't feel inspired, they feel inadequate. Let's say your wife makes the same mistake again. You respond, we should rise above it with love. Be better than the moment. That might sound noble, but in her heart she hears, you're not enough. That distance triggers emotional defenses. Withdrawal, counterattack, silence, shame. 2. Authoritative tone backfires. Even a phrase like, I'm just saying this for your good, can feel patronizing. She might be thinking, so you're always the wise one, and I'm always the one who needs fixing? Now add the environment. Watch her, context blindness. If she's juggling kids, work, house chores, and emotions all day, and you say, let's try to be more virtuous, it sounds tone deaf. She may hear, easy for you to say, you don't live in my reality. 2. Lack of practical steps. Don't get angry, lead with love. Beautiful in theory, but if there's no structure or steps, the advice feels empty. So what works? Speak from humility. Hey, I've been there too. Maybe we can figure this out together. Suggest small, realistic actions. What if we just pause for 10 seconds when things feel tense? Be a collaborator, not a preacher. This is our problem, not your mistake. The tone should be we, not you. Final takeaway. Even the wisest advice becomes meaningless if it's too far removed from the listener's reality. In marriage, advice must come down from the clouds and land in the real, lived moments of our daily lives. That's the true meaning behind teach good, but make it livable. When we speak gently, consider context, and focus on practical, love not lofty ideals, we build bridges instead of barriers. If this message resonated with you, Please subscribe, like, and watch the full video for more insight. For deeper psychology meets wisdom content, you can watch the full video in the description link or on the channel homepage.